What up, y'all? Sixth element of hip hop. You are here. I am here. We are here. I'm your host, Reno Noir. This is my co-host, Stu Dog. What's good, Stu?
Yo, what's good? What's good? Chilling. What up?
Yes,
What up?
sir.
What up?
You know, we having one of them days, bruh. We having one of them Superman versus the Avengers days, one of them DC versus MCU days. It's DC Power Hour. So we gonna get it in. And we got some unboxings, some things I couldn't wait to get. They finally here. Woo. And yeah, man. I want to compare. I want to do a little Marvel Legends versus DC Multiverse too, while we at it. Little comparison. I know you got some goodies to show as well. But we have a big roster of things to get through today if we can, man, because I want to share the information. We got all kinds of good information about the Superman movie, the Green Lantern show, the Creature Commandos show, the Batman 2 movie, the Penguin spinoff, you name it, man. And then we jump over to Marvel. We got all the Avengers Doomsday news, Secret Wars, Fantastic Four updates, castings, Thunderbolts, Captain America. And we got some comic news, and then Stu, we got to talk about this Masters Universe movie. I have some very terrible news. Oh, terrible news. But yeah, we're gonna get into it. But yeah, man, might as well dive right in here because every Marvel Studios and DC Studios movie and TV show that is confirmed to be released in 2025 is right here for y'all. We're gonna bust it up. But yeah, man, 2024 has been a mixed bag for comic book movies. You had Deadpool and Wolverine, which I think went a long way in making up for all the disappointment and depression that was caused by the previous Marvel films and whatnot. Sada, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Peace. Happy holidays. It is. Episode 5 was crazy.
Hi, Slade.
Yes. Yeah, we got some episode 5 goodness for you too. But yeah, Joker 2, Kraven the Hunter. These movies really sucked, and they really dragged us down. For example, but for Marvel Studios, 2025, we'll see the release of 10 big and small screen titles, both in theaters and on Disney Plus. Yes, 10, courtesy of Marvel Television, Marvel Animation, as we, race towards the end of the multiverse saga. And then DC Studios is going to be slightly more low key, 365 days. Though the one movie and TV show that we're getting promised to be a huge thing for the DCU. And then now, as this year winds down, we thought it would be a good time to remind you of everything heading our way in 2025, including the details on what to expect and when you'll see them. But we got what's coming first, January 29th. That's right, this month. You got your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man show, which is now no longer canon, by the way. So we can get into that if you're interested. But yeah, Marvel's animation studio, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Peter Parker. Yeah.
Well, we know why, Reno. It's because of Creature Commandos. I mean, what they did with Creature Commandos is phenomenal. It's actually genius. And why bring out a card? Like, look at What If. The thing people didn't like about What If, even though they liked What If, but the main complaint that people had was that they wanted to see some of the old comic book stuff be What If stories and not the MCU stuff or the
Right.
MCU characters, and make What Ifs off of the movies. They didn't want that. And
Yeah.
when they saw what they did with Creature Commandos, how they made it canon, to their universe,
Mm.
it was genius. So I think they're trying to do the same thing. Just say, well, look, let's just put it out as a show on Disney Plus. Let's keep it moving, and we'll do another project later. So we're gonna get another a Spider-Man project that'll be canon, but it just ain't this one.
Interesting theory. Interesting theory. Yeah. But yeah. We've got the cast of that show is Hudson Thames as Peter Parker, Coleman Domingo as Norman Osborn, Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, which is the same guy that plays him in live action, if you're wondering. Daredevil, Eugene Bird, Grace Song, Hugh Dancy, Kari Walgren, Zeno, blah, 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 a bunch of people you don't know. Then we got number 10 that's coming out February 14th. Oh boy, we're so excited for Captain America Brave New World. Dude, Marvel just honestly, they got nothing coming right now. But Brave New World, after meeting the newly elected president, Thaddeus Ross, who is now president of the United States, played by Harrison Ford, in his MCU debut, Sam Wilson finds himself in the middle of an international incident. Another global plot, nefarious deal for the true mastermind. A returning leader has the entire world seeing red. So we'll see. I think the leader is going to be creating the Red Hulk, something like that, some involved in some way. I'm not really sure because again, Marvel does not adapt comic books, so you can't like, oh well, this is how it goes in the comic. That's no, they don't do that. They just put things together from the Marvel universe and make movies out of it. But Daredevil Born Again coming March 4th is a little more promising, I think. We've got Matt Murdock, all the same cast, coming back from the Netflix version, which I think is a good move because everybody loved it. And apparently, according to Charlie Cox, the Disney Daredevil is going to be more violent and more brutal than the Netflix one.
Sure.
I like to see it.
I would
I'd
love
like
to
to see it. I think we all can agree on that one. We like to see how, because the Netflix one was kind of, I ain't gonna say dark. It was very adult orientated.
No, it was dark. You could call it dark.
Yeah.
It was dark.
You call it dark? No, we'll call it that.
It was physically and thematically dark. So
it was. Yeah. I mean, my favorite part was the hallway scene where he was fighting in the hallway and he rescued the little girl. I think that was like the best cinematic action slash
choreography
theme that I'd seen in a long time since the raid, but it was good. And what made Daredevil so good was the way they did it. It was just like a Daredevil comic. It was dark. It moved at a certain pace. And Daredevil comics are like that, and there's a lot of Daredevil questioning his actions and himself, and we can deal with that because that's what Daredevil does. And they even went with the costume. Like when Daredevil first started, he had the all black with the makeshift hood that he made with the long sash coming off the back. Like all of that was like accurate, bro. Cool. Like yeah, it was cool. And then at the end, he got the suit. Like that's how Daredevil started out.
Yeah, season 2 was great. I'm a little upset about their Kingpin though, because I know Vincent D'Onofrio is coming back as Kingpin, but in what I've seen of him, he's not. So remember in Echo when he was in Echo, he was so much more like the comic book Kingpin as far as the way he looked. He had the really broad shoulders. They put big shoulder pads in him and made him look really much like, Kingpin from the comics. And I was all excited and it was awesome. And then they're backtracking, taking the shoulder pads out and making him look more just like a regular guy for the Daredevil.
That's just a lack of consistency on their part. Because if they wanted that from the beginning, they should have just never done that for Echo. So
right, yeah,
right,
or kept it true for Daredevil. I would love to see them make a transition to being more, less. But that's the MCU. It's trying to be more realistic with the more muted colors and more, tactical costume type, looks and all that stuff. So. But speaking of that, we've got the Thunderbolts coming May 2nd, 2025.
So excited. Yeah. I can't wait.
Yeah. Really?
No, I'm being totally sarcastic.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait a minute, yo. I want to see Brave New World. I want Thunderbolts. I'm just like, I don't know. Thunderbolts to me is like the B list of characters they had, and they just put them in a movie.
Well, they're
Like,
trying to. Yeah, I
that's
mean, I feel like they're trying to do Suicide Squad, Guardians without James
like a
Gunn. And it's
mix,
not gonna work.
like a mix. Yeah, like a mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
is just so weird because they're not Suicide Squad if they just looked at their own
No.
source material. So I don't know. But
Well, that's the other thing that yeah, exactly. We cannot depend on the MCU to be paying attention to source material or caring about it or whatever it is. I don't know if they look at it and then ignore it. If they never look at it, if they don't know to look. I don't know what. I don't know. Who knows? But I do know that the MCU is geared towards the casual audience, trying to cast a wide net and make everybody happy. Versus being actually sort of just like made for like comic fans to appreciate, which I think, which I get, yeah, on paper that makes sense, but honestly, if all the comic fans say that it sucks, do you think the casual audience are going to then go see it? It's not really logical. So I think you should please your fan base first, and then everyone else will follow. Like, if you're making a Vietnam movie, you want all the ex-Marines and Vietnam vets to go, yeah, that's how it looks. That's accurate. We like that's real. We dug that movie. Then everyone's going to go see that movie. But if all the vets are like, that's not accurate, it's corny, it's lame, it wasn't realistic, I don't like it. You think everyone's going to go see it just because you cast a diverse cast? Like, no, come on. It's a stupid logic. Ironheart, June 24th. Set after the events of Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Ironheart pits the technology against magic with Riri Williams, the young genius inventor, doing the Iron Man thing. Her unique take on building iron suits is what makes her special, but in pursuit of her ambitions, she kind of finds herself wrapped up with a mysterious yet charming Parker Robbins, aka the Hood. And that series will also star a few people that we've never heard of. But Superman, July 11th. That is the big jewel of 2025, if you ask me. I think it's going to be the best thing of the year, but that's just me. Superman, DC Studios. We all saw the trailer, all the hype going on right now. So not much to be said there. But yeah, July 25th. Then right after that, we got Fantastic Four. Then we got Eyes of Wakanda, August 6th, which if you're not sure of that, it's like throughout the Wakandan history, all their warriors have been tasked to travel the world, retrieving all the different vibranium artifacts around the world. Eyes of Wakanda is their story. Official details beyond that have been revealed, though, like Brad Winderbaum, Marvel Studios head of Marvel streaming television animation, previously said. He said it more than any other show we're doing in animation ties directly into the MCU. This is a story about Wakanda, end quote. I don't really get that quote because, like, doesn't all their animation tie directly into the MCU? I mean, certainly What If and all the others. Again, another MCU cartoon. These don't excite me. I couldn't care less about any animated MCU stuff. I want to see animated comic stuff.
Right. That would make more sense.
I mean, it's just better. I mean, the MCU is designed, look, feel, story to be live action. When you try to animate it, I mean, yeah, you can animate it, but I think the whole point of cartoons and all that, I mean, you got to go back to the comics for that. But anyway, season 2 of Peacemaker comes out in August at some point. Don't exactly have a date. Marvel Zombies is coming out October 3rd. So just in time for Halloween. It will be reimagining the Marvel Universe as a new generation of heroes battle against an ever-spreading zombie scourge. While not confirmed, we believe that it takes place in the same reality as the What If episode, the Marvel Zombies What If episode. But yeah, when the plans for Marvel Zombies were revealed, character art revealed that the team consisting of Shang-Chi, Ms. Marvel, Hawkeye, Yelena Belova, Jimmy Woo, Death Dealer, Red Guardian, and Katie will clash with variants of Icarus, Abomination, Captain Marvel, Scarlet Witch, Okoye, Ghost, and Captain America. So, yet another MCU project animated. I yeah, I don't know. Wonder Man, December. Dude, I really wish that Marvel would just do some comic book stuff. I don't know. Like, you already did the MCU. Like, you're doing animation now. Like, does it also have to look like a movie? Like, I don't know. Not excited. Wonder Man though looks
Promising.
I mean, it looks like a decent. I mean, yeah, it looks like a decent movie. It's not. I'm not a Wonder Man fan. I don't know shit about the Wonder Man comics. Never read it. Don't know much about the character other than what you can Google, and look at Wikipedia. Because again, I never read Wonder Man, but so I don't really. I'm not like. If you race swap a character or gender swap a character that I don't know or care about, like I don't really care. Like that's fine. Like, but if it's a character we all know and I've been, watching for decades and then you do a gender or race swap, that's just stupid. That's just you're begging for a flop. But no, I mean, Wonder Man, why not? It's not a character anyone's really attached to, I don't think. I don't think Wonder Man has a big fan base, so
I think the race swap was unnecessary. I'm kind of turned off just by the fact that what's his name from Iron Man 3 is going to be in there. The guy who cosplayed as the Mandarin.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I'm just not really interested in seeing
as an actor.
Not really as an actor. I haven't seen much of his stuff. Just his character is very infuriating.
You don't know about Ben Kingsley?
Ben Kingsley. I know his name. I don't know if I've seen him in too many things. I know he's a fine actor.
Yeah, he's known as like being a fine actor.
Right.
Yeah.
But his character, I think, in the MCU is dog shit. So I'm personally not interested in seeing or following him alongside a race swapped Wonder Man, which was just completely unnecessary. I think even if you race swap with characters that are unknown, I think that's worse because I mean you're just opening the door for it to be like, yeah, we could just just do it to do it. It's just I don't know, like it's just no reason to do it. Like we had the same thing happen with the Ancient One where they whitewashed the Ancient One. So it just I don't think it was necessary, but we'll see how that shit turns out. I'm just not personally interested.
No, valid, very valid.
You know what, Kevin? I can agree with that to an extent. The thing is, I said this the last time I was here. It really depends on how WB reacts to this movie. Like, even if it's the most successful thing ever and it makes a bunch of money and it's critically acclaimed, if they then go on to say, "Hey, James Gunn, you have all this, free reign, creative reign," I don't know if that's going to be a good thing because. Me personally, I think he's a one-trick pony, but even beyond that, I think to create a cinematic universe, you need to have more than one person creatively in the forefront. So it just depends. It really depends. I'm not gonna say it's gonna go down from there, but this movie really has no room to fail. So there's that.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Yeah, you're right about that. But I mean, they kind of. He's already got free reign. They already gave it to him. He's got the whole deal. But yeah, I agree, and I think they agree too. He's not writing and directing everything in the universe.
But I'm
he's
saying
just the Kevin Feige of it.
Right. But I'm saying if this movie is successful, that could change. That could change going down the line. If this movie because they have used him to promote this movie.
I don't think that if this movie's successful that they're just going to be like, now you write and create everything that
I think they're going to. I think they're going to have his vision.
He doesn't have the time.
No, I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to be like, listen.
He doesn't have time.
Go ahead. Because the same thing happened with the DCU and Snyder, except that didn't work.
They learned that. Well, that's a mistake they're learning from. That's what they're trying not to repeat.
This is just prettier packaging with the fact that James Gunn has had more successes. You know what I'm saying? So it depends. It really depends on how this film turns out and how they choose to respond to it. So we'll see. I think it looks good. I think it looks good too. So I hope it is. I want it to be good because I want DC to have a win. They deserve a win. But I don't want from this win for WB to be so reactionary that they let their creators have full reign and then we just, it doesn't go well, because that happened with Wonder Woman, that happened with Snyder, and I just don't want that to repeat, because WB they are known for not learning from their mistakes. So
it's a good, I mean, that's a good point, because we definitely don't want that.
I don't want them to fail though. I want them to have a win, like, so bad.
Absolutely. Reno, what is your thoughts that people pass false reports about December 6th are using the same thing here, saying test screening is bad? Well, what is he talking about?
Wait, test screening for what? Test screening for what? What's going
December
on?
6th. I don't know, Hunter, give me some more details and I would be happy to give you my thoughts. But it's a long road ahead. So, I honestly, that would suck if they did that. But I don't think, and James Gunn has already been very clear that he has no interest in just writing and directing every movie and show for the DCU. He said he couldn't have the time. It would be impossible. There'd be no way one guy could do all that. But, and I also, I like Snyder, I mean, it's already the Gunn verse. It's the Gunn verse. That's a fact. He is already got kind of free reign. He's kind of puppeteering everything. As far as his past successes, I think a good track record is important. But as far as like his vision for Superman, we had an exclusive Q&A session following the release of the trailer, and he shared his approach to reimagining, Superman. He said, I wanted to create a teaser trailer that gave the essence of what the movie is without giving any of the plot away. And he said, during the virtual press event attended by like 50 journalists. But at the heart of Gunn's Superman, hang on, there's something making noise. Gunn's Superman is David Cornsweet, who emerged victorious from hundreds of auditioners and all kinds of people obviously trying to get that role. And he said David both has that optimistic Boy Scout quality that Superman has, both on screen and in real life, frankly, and a real down-to-earthness. Gunn said he's incredibly nuanced, incredibly questioning all the time, figuring out how he can give the best performance. And he said in crafting the suit, that he said Gunn said the consultations with previous director Zack Snyder. He said, I even talked to Zack Snyder about it. He said, I tried like a billion versions with the trunks, without, just never got there. And but the final design was actually influenced by David Cornsweet's own perspective. So Superman actually had some say here. He said, Gunn said, David said, I'm an alien from outer space who can fly and lift buildings. I shoot laser beams out of my eyes that can dissolve things. I want kids not to be afraid of me. And so that's kind of where they went with the design. And that's kind of, that's Gunn's what do you call it? Intention with the movie. Yeah, he said it's a different sort of story, and it's vulnerable for me to make that. He said it's all about the character, it's about the actions, it's a big deal. Shooting, flying in a different way. He's because apparently they've got some new effect for the flying that we've never seen before. He said, and so it's just totally different from the movies that I've done in the past and that we've seen with Superman. As far as like the music and all of that, the score, we heard that John Williams' iconic Superman theme, sort of aspects of it, rather notably in the trailer. And he said, I knew from the beginning John Murphy is the guy who composed the score. He said, I start thinking of music for this. The one thing I will say I do want is the classic Williams score, but I want you to turn it and mutate it and turn it into your own thing that'll represent this film and this story. And then as far as like, casting, he said Lois Lane. He said Lois is a journalist of the highest order. She believes in truth pretty much at any price. from the very beginning, you start to see why she is as strong a force as Superman, just in a different way, and why someone as cool and as good looking and as powerful as Superman would be in love with her. So that's these are all like story, these are all character building things. I mean, it's all like we talk about, Stu, like
Yeah.
caring about these characters and making characters that are rich and that we care about, that we can actually sink our teeth into and worry about their stakes and all of that. And so, but he said there's all sorts of things from the other movies that I was impressed by. Seeing the Donner movie as a kid was very cool for me, and I loved it. I took a lot of stuff from that. Zack Snyder did a lot of amazing things with action, but I really go back to the comic books because I'm first and foremost a comic book fan. End quote. My favorite sentence of the whole goddamn thing. I
We
love
will
it.
see
Well,
if
this is
that comes
true.
to
This is
fruition.
true.
The thing
But you
is
you
with
got.
James Gunn, he's good. He's good with words. He will say what he needs to say. Not to say that what he's saying is not truthful 100%, but he's known to fib. He's known to lie.
Oh my
So
god,
he's
you are
gonna say
just
what
so
he says. I am very skeptical of this man forever,
yeah.
true and through, and that's okay. But the
That's
thing
okay.
is, I want this movie to succeed at the end of the day. I don't,
Right.
I don't want it to fail, but I
Right.
am skeptical. So I think he's gonna say what needs to be said to sell the movie, which as he should. But I am going to be skeptical to see what we get from this. But the teaser trailer did its job. I am pumped. So hey, it got a skeptic like me on board. So I think it
That's
did its
big.
job. I think it did its job.
Yeah, yeah, and but yeah, I love. I think that the words he is saying, he is using, are definitely that to make comic fans excited.
Right.
But that's what I like, that he's not trying to make the casual audience excited. He's going for us, and that I think, even if it's lip service, look who he's doing it for the benefit of, and that's comic fans. So even if it is, I'm not super mad. But he also says about meeting fans' expectation. He said most people have come up to me and said I never really related to Superman because he's just too powerful. That's something that I took into account from the beginning. And other people like Superman because he can punch planets in half. So you got to deal with all these different people who have different ideas of what Superman is supposed to be. End quote. I mean, that was one of my biggest, always critiques of Superman. He was just OP. He was just like, I just didn't find it that interesting. Obviously, I've come around. But yeah, I'm not a Superman fan. I'm a Marvel fan. Like, for me to be like really excited about this is crazy. Yeah, but he said, what else did he say? He said, the film scheduled for release in July is supposed to be combining tradition with innovation. He said, for me, it's about bringing the innate goodness of Superman, bringing it home, bringing this character home, bringing our battered world to a brighter place of healing. I think that is the right time for this particular movie. And so that's just kind of his outlook. That's the kind of the movie that he's trying to make. And I think it's the Superman movie a lot of people want after the Man of Steel, which again isn't me. Like, I thought Man of Steel was the best iteration of Superman ever. That's just me. I'm that guy. I don't.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's
look,
just
man,
me.
very divisive.
Listen, I'm blown away
Very
because
divisive.
It was.
I like.
I think it
Listen,
had
you gotta.
potential, but WB
It
was
did.
too reactionary. So
Yeah, and WB did some good stuff. But you got to think too with this Superman movie, it has to be different. And the
Yeah.
reason, because look at it like this: we got Batman when they did Dark Knight Returns, and all of that. Everything we got after that was similar to it, and it was just like
Yeah.
if you didn't make a movie that was sort of like that, or
Mm.
kind of like that, or your Batman wasn't like like a little bit like Christian Bale, but he could be different, but it's got to be. They
right,
weren't trying to make the Batman movie, and it's sad because when you did Man of Steel, they just changed the whole format, and then people liked it and people didn't, which is cool, but it wasn't a failure. That's the thing. So now you got this new Superman movie where he's just changing everything. And like you said, I'm a comic book fan. James Gunn likes to tell the media different things than he likes to tell the fans because of the simple fact that the media, it's not the old media anymore. These are younger people in their 30s, some of them in their early 40s. They have a different perspective. They're always in their cell phone. They always want to gossip. They want to know what's going on. And the biggest thing about reporters now is they're too opinionated. So they won't take what if Reno and Sada or me we make a statement, they won't take our statement and put it out there and be like, well, this is what they said.
There's no such
Hold them
thing as
accountable for
unbiased
it.
reporting anymore. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They won't say, well, this is what they said. Hold them
Right.
accountable for it because that's their
Right.
thought. They like to elaborate on your thought
They
because
give you their
now
opinion of what you said.
right, they give you right and not let you form your own. And
Right.
that's the problem. So James Gunn deals with them like that. But with
Mm.
this new movie, he's telling them like, listen, yeah, it's gonna be different because they all have to be different. They're all different they're all different directors' versions of Superman. Some we might not like, some we might like, some we might hate, some we might love. But at the end of the day, we need it to be different so that it can inspire change in the next movies that come about or next superhero movies that come about or whatever. Because right now, everybody's formula is to be like Marvel. They want to do what Marvel did and format their movies like Marvel format them. And we need to shake up. We need to just shake up the hornet's nest right now and do something different. And that's
Yeah.
why people get fatigued
Yeah.
because
And
we're
that's
doing the
why I'm
same thing.
worried about how WB may react to this film because that's what happened with the DCEU. They just bum rushed into like trying to do what Marvel did because I think that Man of
Mhm.
Steel came out like around the same time as Avengers or a little after that. So I'm just hoping that they don't go down that same path and they just take their time because Superman in the DCEU never had a full and complete story. And I want this one to have the opportunity to have a full and complete story with the other
Yeah.
characters. So I'm
Yeah.
just hoping that that is able to happen. But we will see. So
Well, speaking of the other characters, and yeah, there are a lot of other characters in the movie, but and I think that's one of the things that's gonna make it unique, Stu, and make it different is the all the characters. But I think the big thing that really is gonna set this one so far apart is crypto. Crypto is the key to all of this. Like remember the making of documentary of the Phantom Menace. George Lucas said Jar Jar is the key to all of this. Of course, Jar Jar Binks is one of the most divisive, universally hated characters in modern film history, and has been the subject of
Yes,
much
sir.
diversion and derision among Star Wars fans. But the general movie-going public, and Lucas putting a massive emphasis on Jar Jar in Episode 1, thinking that an annoying comic relief character that reflects negative racial stereotypes would be the key to the film's success, was clearly wrong-headed. But thankfully, James Gunn has a much better track record when it comes to introducing non-human type characters, bringing them to life with CGI, notably Rocket Raccoon, Groot, Guardians of the Galaxy. Also, his first DC movie, The Suicide Squad, had the King Shark, which was well done, and his TV shows like Peacemaker. We got Eagly, and so with his latest effort, Creature Commandos, we see perhaps like the most I think tragic, sad story Gunn's ever written in the Chasing Squirrels with Weasel. Weasel's little story there, but yeah, the love and care that Gunn brings to these non-human characters and realizing them and his self-professed love of animals, I think, and he previously mentioned that adding crypto was actually inspired by his own dog Ozu, and clearly it doesn't look like the big bulky Labrador that we see in the comics. It's definitely more of a small terrier type dog like his dog, and so it's definitely inspired from something real.
No,
But regarding,
it was inspired from the in the comic. Um, Crypto's not that big of a dog. It just looks that
he's
big,
like a lab. Yeah, he's just like a Labrador though.
but he's smaller. He's like a small. I can't explain it. You got to, if you see the comics, you have to look at some of the comic pages because they haven't done them. They haven't been consistent with him the whole time. But
Yeah, that's true.
he's kind of like he's like a middle sized dog. He's not really big.
Yeah,
He's
like a
not really
lab.
small, but he's in the middle. Yeah, he's like in the middle,
Right.
sort of like a lab, like or a small lab, or I don't know. But
He's not like a small
um,
dog. He's more like a Labrador,
no, he's
like a
not a
big. I'll show
no,
you
not a
here.
small dog, not like a lap dog. I mean, like a middle sized dog, like
Yeah, like that.
I don't know, I don't
Yeah,
know. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but there's different iterations. So like you'd have to when you go back, it's never really the
Definitely a
same.
medium. Yeah, he's like a medium
Yeah, it's a
dog, and this
medium
dog
sized
just
dog.
seems
Yeah,
more small than how he
yeah,
normally
smaller
is.
than yeah, it is. Yeah, or he
But
could be. But we do know this. Yeah,
these are the iterations that look most like the movie. That these are the ones
yeah.
they're trying to show here. That these are the ones that look most like the movie. But there are some other images of the dog where he's like a big ass Labrador, and I was like, damn, that's mad different than the movie. I hope it works, but let's see. Oh shit. Here he's like a Dalmatian for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, I've seen that version. I've
Yeah,
seen like
and
the
boxer, there he is.
like a
Here he's like
boxer. He's been like a boxer. You know,
here he's like a wolf.
wolf. Yeah,
But here's like a small dog. This is more of like the Labrador one. See, and then there he's got that one. He's got that one. That one. But yeah, I crypto is going to definitely set this movie apart. What happened to Sada? She fell out. This
yeah.
one.
She had to go. She had to go.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, crypto is definitely going to set this movie apart, though. Definitely from other Superman movies. Besides the fact that all these other superhero characters are in the movie, but in regards to crypto's role in Superman, yeah, Gunn has teased that what was shown in the trailer is just a tiny sample size of what he will be doing in the movie. Gunn said that cute as Superman's dog may seem, he will pose plenty of problems, not just for Superman actually, but for the overall story. And so one can only imagine, the type of messes that a super-powered Kryptonian dog will bring to Metropolis. And it's unknown whether or not this version of Crypto will talk exclusively like a normal dog,
No,
just barking or what.
no. I seen that. No, I seen that on X. I seen that on X. James Gunn said specifically,
He's not going to talk.
he's not going to talk. We're not
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
He said that we're not even going that route. He said because he said he always thought it was goofy, even though
Yeah.
he likes crypto and he likes Superman. But he just said he's not doing that. He just said we'll
Yeah.
do
We're not.
crypto. He'll bark. He'll be like Lassie,
He's
but he
not going to
won't.
do. He's not going to
No,
have
he's not
the
gonna be.
Rock's voice.
No, he's not gonna pop up and sound like the Rock and have full conversations with Superman. It's not gonna happen. So he said, that might be a relief for a lot of people. But
Definitely.
crypto in the comic books, crypto does cause a lot of trouble for Superman. And Superman has to correct him, and because you gotta think if you have a super dog, he's gonna do what dogs do, but just he's able to fly and chase squirrels. He can actually chase the squirrel up the tree and get him. So
Right.
it's yeah. So in the comics, he's always had a lot of trouble out of crypto, but crypto's always came through to save the day when Superman needed him most, despite how much trouble he's ever caused.
Yeah. Yeah. And he like I said, he's very good at live action non-human characters, and we've got but yeah, I think that one ingredient is definitely going to set it apart from other movies, from other Superman movies. James Gunn thinks it's the key that's going to set it apart. It's kind of his favorite thing about it. But yeah, by the time Superman hits theaters next July, it will have been 12 years since the last standalone film centered on Superman. And Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, which starred Henry Cavill in the role, is not without its fans. And this interpretation of Kal-El, along with subsequent appearances in the DC Extended Universe projects, failed to resonate with the general public in the same way that a superhero like Chris Evans' Captain America has. More of a good guy. And so part of the struggle many filmmakers have had with adapting Superman stories to the big screen is to make this character, who seems near invincible beyond the presence of kryptonite, relatable to human audiences. And one of the biggest critiques lobbied against the character from his detractors is that he's inherently uninteresting to follow due to his overwhelming abilities, making him unrelatable to the average person. But they are making a big point of humanizing him and making him more of a relatable human like character very vulnerable, very relatable, and shit like that. So that's going to be one of their main focuses. So that is not going to end up being a big problem,
Hmm.
which is a good thing, because you can go the Man of Steel direction, where he's just a no nonsense dude, and that's one way to do that. Or you can go the DCU direction and just make him more relatable, make him more of a human, give him more human emotions and point of views and stories and stuff like that. I mean, right away we see in the trailer that he's very vulnerable, and that he kind of, I mean, that dude threw the can in his head and he just sort of looked down and kept rolling. like yeah, he knows what's up. But
Yeah,
James
but
Gunn,
it's
go ahead.
because Superman making Superman. What makes Superman relatable is the people that he interacts with. Um, Even though he is an alien, he does do human things. He has human feel, like he has
Right.
feelings. He has compassion, like, and he was taught those things. Because when you look at Zod, Nam, and Ursa, when
Mm-hmm.
they came to Earth, they looked at themselves as being gods. They was like, wait, hold up.
Yeah,
Why do I have to? Why do I have to listen to anything anybody say on this planet when there's nobody on this
because they
planet that
weren't
can stop
raised
me?
on Earth. They grew
They
up
weren't
on
raised. They
they
grew
were
up on
grown ass
Krypton.
motherfuckers. Yeah.
They were grown up. But remember too, before they left Krypton, they were also radical rebels from
Yeah.
Krypton,
Right.
and their views and aspects on what Krypton should be. Even in Man of Steel, I thought that was genius the way they did Zod. And they didn't really. I mean, Nam we know was the big guy with the helmet that we never saw his face, and we never saw. He never spoke because we know Nam doesn't speak. But Ursa All, the way they incorporated her into the movie was genius because she had a role. She was Zod's right hand,
Yeah.
and Nam was his left. And when she was talking to Superman, when she was beating him up in the IHOP, and she was telling him like, you have a tactical advantage against that just doesn't suit you to fight us because you care about these people, and that's what
Mm.
Zod said in the first one, in Superman 2. Like, look, you care about these humans. We don't give a damn about them. They're not even Kryptonian, and that was their prejudice. They're like they're not even Kryptonian, and why do you care about them so much? That's what Zod kept asking. That's why Superman had to kill Zod because he was like, if you like these humans, you can mourn for him. I don't care.
Yeah.
And that's what makes Superman relatable is the fact that he cares. He cares about humanity. He cares about the planet. He cares about society. He learned a lot from his father's hologram about being conscious about his planet and where he's from. And not you're not there to rule these people. You're there to help them because you're going to be able to. And his parents from Earth are teaching him the same thing. So he was never corrupted like Zod was, or had that "I'm superior to you" attitude that Zod even had towards his own Kryptonians.
Right.
And people are saying that the test screening are bad because it was on the December 6th, and I used to tell people that the movie is going to. I mean, no, you can have the
Yeah.
test screening for the Superman movie, Iggy. Are you saying that they had a test screening on December 6th and
He's
people
saying
didn't
that
like
they
it?
did it. Yeah, basically. Uh.
Well, that remains to be seen. Iggy,
Yeah. I
when you
don't.
have a problem like that, I'm gonna tell you what I do. You just gotta wait and see the movie for yourself and make your own decision. Um,
How people show up for Ryan Coogler. Sinners. What's that? What's Sinners? Very common people can't forgive him for not recasting T'Challa. I did, sir. Anthony Mackie, very likable actor. Notice people rooting for Captain America: Brave New World to fail at the box office. He doesn't deserve that at all. Yeah, I mean, as a guy, as an actor, yeah, I mean, no one deserves that. But that being said, nobody really cares about him as Captain America, and Brave New World has a lot of problems, doesn't look all that interesting, and people just aren't really interested in the movie. But coming at him personally, yeah, that's messed up. You shouldn't do that because it's definitely not his fault. First screening testing for Superman, they are not good. Right. They said that the tone of Captain America: First Avengers, like I said,
14 confirmed characters.
opinion.
Damn.
14 confirmed characters. Do you guys think the new Batman movie will be a heavily adapted comic movie? Batman 2, no. The DCU, Batman, yes. Pattinson is rumored to not want to return to the role. Pattinson also is rumored to be the Batman for DCU. I mean, rumor schmoover. We don't go by those
I don't
because
think next Batman's gonna
nonsense.
happen for a while. Oh, it's
Yeah,
happening. We don't. It's happening.
Batman 2 has been delayed. That's true. But yeah, no. Batman. So the very VFX heavy Batman sequel, originally dated for 2025, has been pushed from 2026 now to 2027. And understandably, fans are disappointed by that decision. Some are even convinced that the movie will never happen, which, come on. But, that doesn't seem to be likely, obviously. Batman grossed $772 million worldwide. So Penguin was a huge hit, one of the most watched HBO TV shows ever. That they're not going to capitalize on that. Probably that's
Right.
why the delay, because they want to get this right. They don't want it to be half-assed or fucked up. And we know that last year's Hollywood strikes and Matt Reeves' slow writing have played a role in the delay. Additional details have been, shared online, different sources. But according to the trade, production now isn't scheduled to get started until late summer. The movie also is described as very VFX heavy, a hint perhaps that the filmmaker has some particularly ambitious plans for possibly the villain, and the character and whatnot that they're using. Clayface, maybe. What, I don't know. A lot of VFX in the Batman doesn't sound like the Batman to me, because like unless it's action VFX, explosions, stuff like that, maybe. But we don't expect to see the characters being very supernatural, just based on the characters. But again, guys, take this all with a pinch of salt. Like
That's all.
several
Yeah.
online scoopers have also
Yeah.
hinted that Reeves might be dealing with some serious personal issues, and we don't know what those are, or whether it could be related to his love life or his loved one's health. But there's a lot of ultimately things more important than making a movie. So, but the Penguin, Batman's absence was undeniably distracting to some, and talking earlier this year, the filmmaker confirmed that there were some discussions about a cameo. But he said, over the course of the writing season, we discussed many times whether or not there might be some cross through that we feel was earned. We tried a few ideas conceptually, nothing that ever was ever written ultimately, but nothing seemed quite to gel in a way that felt earned. So, and which is always good. But yeah, you got Court of Owls, the Joker, Mr. Freeze, Clayface, all compelling theories and possibilities. But it might just be the Penguin, and still, but who knows, how much the story has evolved and how much time Reeves has spent working on it and what all it's going to be about, and all of that's all up in the air.
It is. And you got to see for yourself sometimes. Like, I've seen movies where, you go on Rotten Tomatoes, the critics will trash it, the fans love it, or vice versa. Um, so I just go see for myself. There's quite a few movies I've done that with. I was like, yo, this wasn't bad.
Yeah.
So you can't always listen to the status quo. Everybody likes what they like and don't like what they don't like. Some people like the nerd nitpick through things and then impress it on everybody else. You can't do that. I mean,
Yeah.
people
Well, we've
we got
heard
our own minds. So use it. Use your own mind to figure out whether you like it or not.
that's the thing, you please, use your own brain, use your own opinions. This
Yeah.
this era is way too dependent on other people's opinions. Like, everybody wants to go online and see what everyone else thinks about it, and that's how you determine if you're gonna like something. What the hell? Like, no, hell no, bro. I would never determine if I like something based on other people's opinions of it. You know how ridiculous that even sounds to say? It's not your opinion, it's someone else's opinion.
Opinion.
Build your own,
Right.
form your own. But as far as the Superman teaser, sorry, test screenings, what do you call it? Hollywood Reporter said, we've heard from multiple sources about one screening in particular on the lot and with his close knit crew of people he trusts. We're keeping the buzz about the movie itself in our own fortress of solitude, but we can tell you that the movie will be doing a few days of additional shooting in Los Angeles in the near term. Snyder claims to have met with a source who, he said, knew multiple people who had seen Superman, and the buzz is not good. I'm hearing bad things. I'm hearing you should be worried things. It sounds like James Gunn is aware of some of the feedback. Again, it's people within the crew that are criticizing their own work, probably being, detrimental of it. But that's supposedly why the reshoots take place for movies. But Gunn said those are pickup shots. He said no scenes, no reshoots. However, another source in the editing world told the reporter that there are plenty of reasons to be nervous about Superman. Rocha shared, he said, someone who's seen Superman told me that the tone of the first Captain America movie and the Mummy films. They said Nicholas Hoult is the standout and the film is decent, but a large chunk of the film was unfinished with only a third of the film's VFX done, end quote. So guys, listen to that comment. Only a third finished. None of the VFX are in there. So yeah, it's going to look like the first Captain America movie. Again, this is one person's opinion. This is one rumor shared from one person that was their opinion. It says that it has the least amount of humor of any of Gunn's films, but there's still humor throughout the film. That's a very promising thing to me. I don't want to see this film be overly comedic. I think that Gunn it just does the perfect amount of comedy in his movies versus, say, Taika Waititi, who thinks every single word in the movie has to be a joke. Gunn doesn't do that, but I hope he does it even less for Superman. Like Superman is not Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not Suicide Squad. It's not Peacemaker. It's not supposed to be a comedy. It's not a raucous slapstick, So guys, what do you want? You want it to be slapstick or some shit? It's Superman. He said most people will be satisfied with the movie, and it should be received well enough to continue Gunn's DCU. So you have people, guys, that take a comment, a whole comment, and they take one sentence out. Now, if I take one sentence out of that comment, that says, someone who's seen Superman told me that it has the tone of the first Captain America movie and the Mummy films. They said Nicholas Hoult is a standout and the film is decent, but a large chunk of the film was unfinished with only a third of the VFX done. It has the least amount of humor, but there's still humor in the film. Most people will be satisfied with the movie. It should be received well enough to continue Gunn's DCU. Now, I don't hear anything negative there, like not overtly.
But you do hear his opinion overtly.
His
And that's just
opinion.
and that's the way he feels. Right.
He's saying I saw the movie that's not complete. He's not saying it's bad.
Right. He just told you how he felt about it. Now
He said
you
it's
might
not
watch
finished.
it, Right.
He said I
Iggy
watched
might
it. He said it
watch
was
it.
decent. It wasn't finished. I think a lot of people will like it.
Yeah. And Iggy, you might watch it and you might think it's the greatest movie you ever saw in the last 10 years.
Or
I
you
might think it's the
utter
greatest movie.
garbage.
You might think it's garbage, or you might just be in the middle with it. You might be like, I thought it was okay. You might be like, we can do better.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you formed your own opinion about it. That's
Yeah.
that's what we're saying. That's what we're pushing for. Just waiting. We that's why we keep
Yeah.
saying we'll just wait and see.
And should
And
you
we're
take it
excited
serious?
about it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as negative buzz, plenty of hit movies have early negative buzz, including like Barbie had horrible test screenings, but was a huge success. So it just sometimes movies are all about like timing. like what society is going through at the time. Some movies that come out, they come out and they bomb in the box office, and then later we look back and I'm like, that's a fucking classic. But at the time when it
Mhm.
came out, society just wasn't ready for it, or it didn't hit at that time.
Yeah.
But like
Look at
I
Star
think
Wars.
this is the
Star
right
Wars wasn't
time
that.
for this movie.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'll give you one movie that I know for a fact. They thought it was gonna bomb when they brought it out, and that was Friday the 13th. My homeroom teacher played Jason's mother, and she told us. We
Oh
asked her
shit.
about it one day, and she told us. She said, "Listen, I went to the audition. I won. I got the part as Jason's mom." She said, "When we finished the movie, and they did the test screening for the movie, she said it was like a lot of negative stuff. But she said when they released it to the public and nationwide, it was the biggest movie that summer, and it's had a cult following ever since. And how many Friday the 13th movies are there? Like
Yeah,
eight or
right.
nine of them
10,
things.
11,
Yeah,
10 at least.
10,
Well,
12. It might be 20.
12, 13,
We
yeah.
Yeah. Well, we know Jason that went to outer space. So if you got a movie where you
Yeah.
go to outer space, you're doing pretty good. So
Yeah.
and when she told us, she said I got the part. She said I never played in another movie, but she said they literally when they put it out, they were scared. They thought it was gonna bomb. Like she said, they didn't have high expectations for it, but they made
Yeah.
the movie. They spent the money, and she said they put it out, and it was the biggest movie that summer. Like everybody across the country wanted to see Friday the 13th. So
Yeah.
the critics can get it wrong. Ebert and Roper used to get it wrong. Siskel and Ebert used to get it wrong. Stuff they didn't like, the public loved, and stuff they loved, the public was like, "Yeah, what they didn't
Yeah.
like."
Well, when the critics
It's
get to see it, we'll see what they think about it. Right
yeah,
now, these are just guys. These are just random people like on the set who've gotten to see the movie, shit like that. This isn't like film critics or people that know they're that understand what happens to audiences and shit like that. But it's also worth noting that just because a handful of people may or may not have liked what they saw does not mean the rest weren't much bigger fans of what they saw, right? They're
right.
just taking what some negative people say, and they're just not talking about it. And regardless, though, it will be interesting to see what else comes out, whether Gunn responds and stuff like that. Also, you've got Snyder believes that Robert Pattinson and Gunn both want the Batman into the DCU, but it's Matt Reeves who's pushing back. And as for Andy Muschietti, who was attached to do the Brave and the Bold Batman movie, but doesn't appear that movie is really a priority for DC Studios. That Brave and the Bold Batman movie with Damian Wayne, which I was really excited about because I wanted to see like the blue and gray Batman, and since they had crypto, maybe even Ace the Bat Hound would hop in there and Damian Wayne and do the whole classic Batman thing, since they're doing the classic DC character thing with Batman, with Superman and all of that.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, the Brave and the Bold movie, the director said it's being postponed a bit, so we'll have to see how that, what all happens with that.
But remember too, these postponements might not be bad. Remember what James Gunn said:
No,
quality over quantity.
right,
And if you don't have a third act written, we can't even move forward. So they probably delay because they don't have a third act written. He might
right,
not like the story and ask him to change a few things, and he might have like a certain guideline or even a certain thing that he wants to follow in order to make the movie more interesting. Like we know Superman is not an origin story; it's year two.
mhm,
He's doing his thing. Um, that's great because that's what
right,
we want. It's a young Superman,
mhm,
and so these other movies he might want all the heroes to be younger in these movies. And he might say, listen, you gotta write it like this because I want these guys to be younger. Or he might be telling, I don't want an origin story. I don't want no more origin stories. Let's just get right to the meat and potatoes and get it popping in here.
yeah.
Which is what we want. It's what we want.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. We've seen these origins of these characters. We just want to see it. We just want to hop in the action and get to it. Speaking of the action, Creature Commandos episode 5 gave us, I think, some pretty good Frankenstein action. We're starting to find out that the Frankenstein character is a lot more of a monster than we thought, and not just physically. Like, this dude is a monster. They really let us know. He really cemented his villainous nature through a devastating flashback sequence that really showed his capacity for cruelty, and his obsessing over the bride, and how nothing is as important as him getting to the bride, and he would literally kill anybody for anything, and he just has no sort of remorse whatsoever, or morals valuing human life in any way. And that's an interesting take on the character, because Frankenstein was never that way. But yeah, after the bride discovers Eric near a bloody corpse, the bloody corpse of Dr. Frankenstein, she sets the house on fire, attacks him, knocks him out, and escapes. And Eric, who is, Frankenstein's monster, the monster, is caught by the flames and forced to race to a nearby river to survive. And he hops in the river, and then this old blind lady finds him and takes him and nurses him back to health. And they kind of build this bond in this relationship. And she, initially kind of offers hope for Eric's humanity. And we see, like, this dude, this Frankenstein, is kind of like the OG Frankenstein, where he's got a human side, and when we think that this is kind of happening, and so there's this sort of maternal thing going on, and her blindness lets her see past his monstrous look, which is again kind of from the original Mary Shelley book. And so, but yeah, when the old blind lady expresses her fear of being alone after Eric decides that he's gonna I'm healthy now, thank you for nursing me back to health, I'm gonna go and continue to find the bride. And she's heartbroken. She's like, this is your home, like we've built this sort of little, we kind of got this thing going, and shit's cool. And rather than staying with her or helping her find some companionship, he murders her, he kills her, and justifies it as an act of mercy, right? But after all, in death, she'll never be alone. But this moment definitely crystallizes Eric's fundamental inability to understand genuine human connection, revealing how he warps, concepts of love and care into tools of destruction. So he's the ultimate toxic relationship guy. But yeah, he's definitely a very toxic dude, but of course, but he's a monster. He's definitely a bad guy. That was definitely revealed. So cool episode if you haven't seen it.
Well, I gotta break out, man. It's that time for me.
Oh damn, we ain't even get to the Avengers yet. All right,
I know. I'll
I'll
pop in the
bust it up.
chat, man. I'll pop in the chat. Yeah, I'll pop in the chat, man. Rock out
Yeah.
in the chat.
Well, you got to go to work.
Yeah. This is my early night. Yeah, super early. So, but I will catch you guys Wednesday.
Be safe, my man.
All right, peace.
Peace. Man. Yes, sir. So yes, more major Marvel stars reportedly back for the Avengers reunion. Avengers Doomsday has laid the groundwork for their whole casting and all that stuff. So we've got that for you. It's time to commence the journey towards 2026's Avengers Doomsday, which that film has suffered a number of setbacks in the past year, which included being completely retooled. And originally was the Avengers the Kang Dynasty, which was, the film changed after Marvel Studios parted ways with Jonathan Majors, and we know what happened there. But they've redesigned it. They got Robert Downey Jr. coming in as the new villain. They've got the Russo brothers coming back to direct. So this would reflect a change of attitude from Marvel, and something of them maybe realizing that their whole, post Endgame, whatever you call that, was not working. So, but Robert Downey Jr.'s return was just the beginning of the wave of comebacks that they are setting up as Avengers Doomsday, and the sequel Avengers Secret Wars are going to feature multiple returns, including Chris Evans, Haley Atwell, possibly Scarlett Johansson, and we're finding out tons of cast that are coming back for these movies that I think Marvel intends to be the next, Endgame and Infinity War, really, which you can't do because Endgame and Infinity War in and of themselves were just movies. They were big epic events because of the 10-year buildup of the MCU leading up to it, that we all it sort of percolated and built up to this big event. You don't have that buildup now. So these movies just have to be great on their own. They will not capture that same epic feeling. Don't look for it. You can't have it. Doesn't exist. They didn't build up to it. There's no big buildup. And so that's why, but that of course would mean that another MCU veteran would return in Avengers 5. We've got Sebastian Stan's Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier, and might be sharing some scenes with Chris Evans, who may be playing an evil version of Captain America, maybe even the Hydra Captain America, which I think would be fucking cool as hell. Since you're doing the RDJ Doom, you might as well do the Hydra Cap, since it's all about a multiversal, whatever. But also the fact that the Falcon is now Captain America, Anthony Mackie. So are you gonna try to overshadow Anthony Mackie? Because trust me, if Chris Evans comes back as good old Cap, there's no more Anthony Mackie Cap. That's done. No one's gonna even consider calling him or even thinking of him as Captain America anymore, which would be pretty insulting, I think, to come back and now you're the sidekick again. So I think it actually makes better sense and works for the whole universe if he comes back as the evil Cap, the Hydra Cap. Would be cool if he even had the Hydra get up. But it also means that some of the multiverse saga's most important characters, like Yelena Belova, David Harbour's Red Guardian, the U.S. agent, are now going to get their chance to join the wider MCU, and all that, and sort of bring them into the fray as Avengers. But Thunderbolts releases this coming summer and is going to act as Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad. That's right. A group of villains, former villains, and anti-heroes will unite to take on a shared threat. Bucky Barnes, John Walker, Alexei Shatovsky, Yelena Belova, Ghost, Taskmaster, and Sentry are seemingly battling Contessa Valentina's Allegra de Fontaine. And the title is intentionally ambiguous, and the meaning behind the asterisk will reportedly be revealed in the movie itself. And so we'll have to see what that's all about, but it could be interesting. But yeah, Chris Evans coming back, teaming up with Robert Downey Jr. You've got the two, good guy, used to be good guys, now playing bad guys. So that could be a whole thing. But all the characters that are confirmed in the Avengers movies, Avenger Doomsday anyway, we've got Doctor Strange confirmed. Obviously, Benedict Cumberbatch coming back to play his role. You've got Sam Wilson's Cap, Fantastic Four. The whole four are going to be in Doomsday and Secret Wars. You've got Spider-Man, Tom Holland, Peggy Carter is confirmed. Chris Evans again, not sure as who yet. Doctor Doom, of course, Robert Downey Jr., possibly some version of Iron Man. But those are our confirmed characters right now. The Avengers Doomsday villains reportedly revealed now, along with a big Scarlet Witch update. I think they're overusing the hell out of Scarlet Witch. She's not that important in the comics. She's not that big a character. I don't know why the MCU tries to make her such. She like, dude, relax. Like, it's Scarlet Witch. Who? But anyway, like they've made her this huge character, so you can definitely expect her to be a major part of Avengers Doomsday. Even though she supposedly died in the Doctor Strange multiverse movie, with the dark hold and the whole thing in the multiverse, they'll figure out a way to bring her back. But I think our villains should definitely be Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. coming back to play twisted counterparts of their iconic characters. Evans playing Captain Hydra, and Doom playing a Tony Stark Doctor Doom. Robert Downey Jr. playing a Tony Stark Doctor Doom. And the way that works is, so in the comics, it's happened, I think, more than once, but definitely once, where Reed Richards is remade as Doom. He's kind of made as Doctor Doom by Doctor Doom in another multiverse. So he comes out as Doctor Doom. They are kind of replacing Reed Richards in that storyline with Tony Stark. Not because it makes more sense, not because it's a better way to write the story, certainly not because it's comic accurate, but because they need Robert Downey Jr. Sadly, that's a sad thing. The villainous lineup, though, would certainly provide an interesting and unique challenge for the Avengers. And while there's no confirmation of these specific appearances yet, the concept of these fan favorite heroes battling dark variants would be really cool. But we can only hope that they are that smart. But again, Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch in Avengers Doomsday. They and Creature Commandos is getting a second season. But yeah, I think for fans that are into Scarlet Witch and love Wanda, this would be a very thrilling comeback after her dramatic turn in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Whether she'll be an ally or an antagonist remains to be seen. Maybe she'll be both. Maybe there'll be two versions of her. Maybe one, flip-flopping. Who knows? But this is not the first time that we've heard that Elizabeth Olsen's Scarlet Witch could be in Avengers Doomsday, as it is rumored that she could be Doctor Doom's lover in the story. And when the multiverse saga was first announced, a lot of fans hoped for exactly this kind of exploration of variants, iconic characters reimagined with an evil twist. And then we never sort of really dove into that or really capitalized on it. But previously, it was reported that the movie will feature an overwhelming number of variants and that several actors will pull double duty in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. And it was also reported that at that time that Chris Evans could be portraying another character in the movie that stands alongside Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom. So it will be really interesting to see if there's any truth to those rumors or what. Again, him coming just back as regular Cap doesn't work for Mackey's Cap. It really makes Mackey's Cap look like a loser, a real sidekick. But Avengers Doomsday coming out May 2026, and Avengers Secret Wars sometime, hopefully, May 2027, if they can pull them off and really bust them out, bang, bang, one after another, 1 year apart like that. That would be great. Michael B. Jordan is rumored to be coming back as well, just because of his success in the Wakanda movies, and he's, sort of coming back in the animated stuff, and they just love some Michael B. Jordan. So expect him to come back as well, as far as different characters that may be coming up in the movies. Pretty much, again, think Endgame, where they try to kind of bring everyone back from the whole thing, and then just bring them all back in one big finale. But without the buildup, I don't see it having the same major vibe, major success that it once had. Yes. Can Avengers make a comeback? We shall see. Kevin Feige knows Fantastic Four has to set up Doomsday. Absolutely. Fantastic Four has to be good. If not, well, Marvel will have to either start from scratch or give up. Fantastic Four may not be good. It may suck. It may, you've got the fact that they're doing Shalabal only so far that we've heard, the fact that they're just doing Shalabal as the female Silver Surfer, that little factoid right there tells you so much about this film. It tells you all about the point of views of the people making it, the whole vibe of it, all of that. Because remember, in the comics, there is no time where there's just a female Silver Surfer. That's something they're literally making up for the MCU. There's a Earth X comic, which is a side universe, kind of like the Ultimate Universe, where it's not, the main Marvel universe, and all kinds of wacky shit goes on. In that story, there's an instance where Norrin Rad, the Silver Surfer, implores Galactus to allow his wife, Shalabal, to come with him and be a Silver Surfer as well, so that they can travel as twin surfers and be together and blah, blah, blah. So Galactus grants it, and Shalabal becomes Silver Surfer. Now, the fact that Marvel is taking that one character out of that pair, that twin, that storyline, and removing the Norrin Rad character just to have a female Silver Surfer, that not only tells me that they're not being, they're not adapting any comics directly, and it tells me that they're putting their, and I hate to use this term, I really do, woke agenda before the story, which has been Marvel's problem since Endgame, if you ask me. Russo brothers and Robert Downey Jr., on the other hand, coming back for Avengers, feels more like what Deadpool and Wolverine was, which was more like, hey, there's still people here in Marvel that aren't just so Disney-fied, that still care about this stuff, that are still going to fight and still give real, real good comic content. And so I think even if Fantastic Four does flop, which I doubt it's going to flop, these movies don't really flop, but if it's not loved, and even if comic fans hate it, or if it just ends up just being a total wokery fest of nonsense, you still have the Russo brothers, Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, coming back to save the day for two big movies. So sadly, they probably won't start from scratch or reboot the MCU or anything like that. They would have to tuck their tail, be real humble, and admit they were wrong and all kinds of stuff, which I don't know. I don't know. We will see, but it could be a good thing. It could be a really good thing. Fantastic Four might not suck. It might really be good. There is the potential. You've got Galactus, finally, a real Galactus, not a big cloud of smoke. We know there's going to be a real Galactus. We know what he's going to look like. We know who's the voice of him is going to be. So Galactus is probably going to be really great. The casting, I'm not so sure about. Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. Maybe we'll see. Vanessa as Invisible, that's fine. The kid that's playing Johnny Storm, I have zero faith that he's going to be a good Johnny Storm. I hope I'm dead ass wrong. The guy that's playing the Thing, I think is a great casting and could be really cool, but I could be dead ass wrong. It could also go really hard the other way. That actor, I could see him going either direction. So that movie to me is a total coin toss. It could go either way. Ralph Ineson playing Gallon of Ta, aka Galactus. Very cool casting right there. making Galactus humanoid, because guys, Galactus is like a humanoid figure. He used to be like a regular, sized dude, and he like has a history. He was actually a regular humanoid being at one point. And that thing is a helmet. It comes off, and he's got a head of hair. He looks like a regular person. It's rarely ever been seen, but it's been seen. And so, making Galactus not just this big entity of smoke, this big, abstract thing, that's a really cool, that has a lot of potential. And in the comics, Galactus, plans to swallow Earth. Not technically, he doesn't really swallow the planet. He's not that big. He's really not that big. Like, he's like 30 feet tall. He's not huge. He doesn't float around space eating planets like apples. He's not that big. He's got a machine that draws the energy and life force out of a planet, sucks it dry, and he, consumes that, absorbs it or whatever. But that's not, he doesn't like literally eat planets. I think a lot of people think that. I know a lot of people do. But yeah, so his plan to swallow the Earth is thwarted repeatedly by the Fantastic Four over and over, who either negotiate with him or threaten him or stop him with the ultimate nullifier or something, which is a little device. Looks like is as big as a Zippo, kind of, and it just like kind of has a trigger and nullifies anything. It's like the ultimate get out of jail free card. Reed can do anything with it, kind of thing. Or whoever has it. Huh? Anyway, very powerful characters for this movie. Franklin Richards and Doctor Doom have defeated Galactus in the comics. I do expect to see Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four movie. I hope as maybe a very last end scene, after credit scene or something, but to set up Doomsday. Because Doom is obviously a Fantastic Four character, very much so. But I hope that he's not the main big bad. Like, I hope he's just kind of not really. I hope it's just Galactus, and I hope that. What is that? I just hope it's just Galactus as the main. Shalabal, who knows how that's gonna go, the female Silver Surfer. What they're gonna do with that totally could be anything. But after Fox's Fantastic Four introduced in 2005, Rise of Silver Surfer made a big jump ahead in the team's story, putting them against Galactus and Silver Surfer. But the sequel's Silver Surfer, widely considered to be the main highlight of the movie, I thought was phenomenal. You had Lawrence Fishburne's voice, Doug Jones playing the physical portrayal, and top-notch depiction of Norrin Radd. Galactus, however, was a massive disappointment. Everybody was pissed. It was literally a cloud in the sky instead of the actual anthropomorphic villain. But fortunately, Ralph Ineson being cast as Galactus marks a very, very big change to the character in comparison to that bullshit Fox gave us. Not only will the MCU's Galactus have a human-like voice, but again, he will also appear as a cosmic giant with a celestial type suit and, his iconic helmet and all of that. But I think the Celestials from the Eternals are a very good hint at what it's kind of going to be like. So think Celestials. How big they're going to make him? Is it going to be comic accurate? Is he really just going to be 27 feet? Are they going to make him a huge, like a Celestial or what? Who knows? But making him the actual anthropomorphic appearance will make him an actual supervillain instead of a force of nature, granting him the opportunity to have his own personality, character arc, similar to villains like Ultron and Thanos, and I just hope he doesn't be too relatable, guys. Like, let him be a villain. That said, Galactus isn't just like a mustache twirling, but he's definitely not like a bloodthirsty. Well, he's just trying to satiate his hunger. Like, he's not just pure evil or anything like that. I hope very different. I know that Robert Downey Jr., one of the better actors of our time, absolutely has the chops to play two completely different characters. He could make them unrecognizable if he wanted to. He could play Doom and you would not at all recognize him. If he wanted to wear the mask, change his voice, you would never have a fucking clue that it was Robert Downey Jr. if he wanted to. But they clearly don't want to do that. They want to capitalize on RDJ. So, but I think it's going to be an eviler version of Tony. I think he'll be. I hope that he's going to be very different. I do. I hope that he's going to be very different. I hope that it doesn't seem like regular MCU Tony, who's like, oh, I'm just gonna be Doctor Doom now. Like no, it's gotta be, he's gotta be Doom. But it could also be a very tortured, tragic thing, much like the Reed Richards becoming Doom, which was really crazy. Check out the new Ultimates #4. It breaks down exactly how they're gonna do it. He might make a human avatar like Ego did in Guardians 2. Like Ego did in Guardians 2. Oh, you mean do you mean Galactus? Another significant change that Fantastic Four First Steps will make to that team is that their origin. So instead of getting their powers in the same timeline as the Avengers, the MCU's Fantastic Four are going to make their debut as an already established team in an alternate universe. So they're not in our universe. So they're borrowing heavily from the 1960s Fantastic Four. And since the Fantastic Four's universe is a brand new and completely separate universe from the MCU main timeline, it could easily be destroyed without affecting the rest of the MCU's established characters. So what might happen is Galactus might come and actually destroy their planet. They have to escape last minute, and they pop over into the MCU's main universe, which is how they're going to be in Doomsday and Secret Wars and all of that. So it's very possible that Galactus will actually succeed. Yeah, but making Galactus, his unstoppable, nature makes him a very difficult character to adapt in live action, because and the chances of him actually destroying the world in a movie are very slim. But again, it's a very unearth like it's not going to be a very recognizable, it'll be sort of recognizable, but the Earth in the Fantastic Four movie isn't going to seem like our Earth. It's not even going to seem like our Earth in the 60s. It's going to seem like how the 60s imagined the future to be. Like if you think about in the 1960s how there would be art or films about the future and how everything looked, a lot of big bubbles and shit like that. Like that's what it's going to kind of look like. That's kind of the idea. So him being able to destroying that in a movie, that's more possible. But Galactus is much more likely to succeed in this movie because it's an alternate timeline, right? Consuming the Earth, leaving the Fantastic Four adrift in space, and thus ready to find refuge in a different universe And in the comics, the Future Foundation's creation of a life raft allows a lot of different characters to survive the end of the multiverse. And in the MCU, the Fantastic Four could create their first life raft and find themselves a new home and end up in the MCU. Now, I think it should have a very downer ending, be a dark ending that would only, it'd be the only way Marvel can do Galactus justice. He needs to be all powerful. He's got to be about, and Fantastic Four's introduction in a different timeline of that than the Avengers and of the X-Men might be very disappointing for a lot of comic fans, but this movie's release, Fantastic Four First Steps, in the multiverse saga, could also be a blessing in disguise for that one of these for Galactus. His he could approach his soul life purpose in Fantastic Four First Steps ending a feat that would otherwise be impossible in any other live action adaptation. In no other movie, in no other situation other than this multiverse saga could Galactus ever win. Could he ever actually get to consume the planet? And so, besides the Fantastic Four losing to Galactus, gives the Fantastic Four a very clear reason to start exploring the multiverse, and ahead of their involvement in Doomsday and Secret Wars. So that way, the Avengers Secret Wars or Doomsday movie just doesn't start and then they quickly try to explain how Fantastic Four gets there. No, like the whole movie, the Fantastic Four movie, needs to be about how they get to the Avengers universe. In the comics, in the 2015 Secret Wars storyline that they're loosely adapting, Galactus acts as Franklin Richards' servant, as his herald, after God Emperor Doom rewrites reality. God Emperor Doom, Franklin Richards, like these characters from, like, I really pray that Marvel uses them. Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars, dude, it's some of the best comics, period. And it'd just be a shame. It'd just be such a big letdown if they don't capitalize. Josh Brolin's Thanos left the bar too high for MCU villains after Infinity War and Endgame. Kang the Conqueror was supposed to be the next Thanos, but I never thought he even came close to being at all even interesting, really. But even ignoring Jonathan Majors' legal issues and subsequent firing, Kang really didn't make a significant impression in the Ant-Man and Wasp movie, where he was defeated by Scott Lang and his allies. And if the Fantastic Four failed to stop Galactus in their movie, the Fantastic Four Galactus would replicate Thanos, his Infinity War victory, and establish him as an even bigger threat for the Avengers on the multiverse 616 reality. Because it's really the only character, the MCU, giving Galactus a more devastating victory than Thanos, without ruining the movie. Because Thanos, I mean, the kind of the comparison between the two, Galactus and Thanos. I mean, he's the only villain that the MCU has toyed with using that really is on the level of a Thanos. Kang certainly is not on the level of a Thanos. Kang's not even on the level of a Doctor Doom. Doom toys with Kang, like so they really set the bar very high villain wise, and that's why I thought Kang was a terrible choice to come after Thanos. And thank God it happened the way it happened, because now we'll actually get a villain that actually compares to a Thanos, which is like a Doom or a Galactus. But yeah, a lot of fans are divided over the who's going to be leading the MCU or the Avengers. You know, you've got these new characters, and a lot of these fans want the original characters back. And uh, Captain America, Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, these three movies have a lot of they've got a lot of weight that they have to they have to accomplish a lot. They've really got to accomplish a lot. They have to make us care about these characters all within one movie, which, you know, remember the MCU had many films to build up those characters for us, for Endgame and Infinity War to be so epic. But we just don't have it this time. But yeah, man, I think it's a toss up right now, Marvel and DC. Personally, the things Gunn's talking about, the projects that he's got ahead, sound way more comic book satisfying to me than anything Marvel's talking about. Marvel stuff sounds, again, a lot just more like just think about, I don't know. It's like how they take He-Man and make He-Man take place on Earth. Like, you make a live action He-Man movie, but it takes place in LA. Why? It's supposed to take place in Eternia. Why the fuck would we want to see He-Man in LA? Well, I'll tell you why they do that. They do that because people who aren't fans of He-Man and Eternia won't relate. They want the casual idiot to be able to look on the screen and understand what's going on and not feel too alienated. And then, of course, you know, you don't want to be too nerdy and the whole thing. They just want to make everything so cool and just they want to take all the fantasy out of it. They want to take all the cheesiness out of it, you know, and they just want to make it all just so relatable to the average cool guy, and they ruin it every time. And speaking of He-Man, like they did that one in the 80s where it took place on Earth. They're doing a new He-Man movie, and guess what? Guess where it's going to take place? Partially on Earth. He-Man's going to literally grow up on Earth, and then he gets cast out of Eternia when he's 10, grows up on Earth from the time he's 10 till he's like, you know, in his 20s, and then gets sent back to Eternia. The only reason they would do that is to appeal to a casual audience. Dude, that is the worst term that has ever happened to an adaptation. The casual audience. Basically, it means people who aren't fans of what the movie's about. That's who the casual audience is. Casual, meaning they're just people watching. They're just people walking by. They're passers-by. They're not you. You're not the casual audience. You're a fan of comics. You're a fan of He-Man. You're a fan of Superman. You're a fan of Batman. You're a fan of Spider-Man. You're a fan of the Avengers. You're a fan of the X-Men. The casual audience are not fans of these things. And they try to make the movies about these things appeal to the casual audience. And the only way they can do that is by bastardizing it, ruining it, taking it out of its main universe, putting it on Earth, making it realistic, making the costumes tactical. And nobody gets that. Like people like a lot of fans, they think, oh, like that's a cool take. It's not a cool take. It's not an interesting take. It's not a creative version, guys. It's Hollywood trying to fucking appease the normal asshole who doesn't care about this stuff anyway. It's bro, like it if you like man, it's sad, bro, that like anytime they reboot something, anytime they try to like adapt something. It always has to just appeal to the casual audience. Well, obvious, dude. That's called selling out. That's what selling out is. That's what going commercial is. They're selling out the realness of it and making it appeal to every moron. What do you do as a 10-year-old to get kicked off your planet? I mean, and then they're talking about like it's gonna take all of the He-Man stuff is stuff he heard about as a kid. He thinks that the whole He-Man and the Master of the Universe are stories, are tales that he heard as a little kid. But again, that doesn't make any sense because at 10 years old, you don't know what's real. Like you forgot everything from when you were 10. It says, I'll read it to you. It says, 10-year-old Prince Adam who crashed to Earth in a spaceship and was separated from his magical power sword, which, by the way, why does a 10-year-old have a big-ass He-Man sword? His only link to his home on Eternia. After tracking it down almost 2 decades later, Prince Adam is whisked back across space to defend his home planet against the evil forces of Skeletor. But now, to defeat such a powerful villain, Prince Adam must first need to uncover the mysteries of his past and become He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. No. Why? Why can't he already just be He-Man and it's Eternia and you adapt the He-Man that we all recognize, know, and love? You couldn't just do that. You gotta flip it and make some new bullshit. And again, guys, don't be fooled. This is not a creative take. This is not them making it new. This is just them trying to cast a wider net and sell more tickets. If they wanted to make a really badass He-Man movie, it would not be a huge blockbuster. Fans of He-Man would love it. But that's it. It wouldn't make $1 jagillion. And that's why they don't do it. And that's why they make these creative takes. That's why, they want to make it their own and all this. It's just to sell more tickets. It's just to appeal to people that really aren't fans of it in the first place. But yeah. But apparently let me see. It says let's see here. I'll share this with y'all real quick. Hold on, it's not responding. Okay. It says, new He-Man movie leaked plot just revealed and it's completely unexpected. Let's see what they're saying now. I haven't read this one yet. This is after the whole thing that I heard already. Amazon's take on Master Universe shaping up to be a bold reimagining of the beloved franchise. While many expected a straightforward adaptation, recent leaks hint at something very different. So here's this bullshit. This is the bold reimagining. It's not a bold reimagining. It's a bastardizing. It's a sellout. It's a destruction of the original content to make something that average people who don't care about He-Man will buy. That's it. It says in this upcoming film, Prince Adam isn't the powerful warrior from Eternia we all know. We all know. So why can't it be the shit we all know? Instead, he's just an ordinary guy stuck in the monotony of a dull office job in the real world. Oh boy, man, this sounds fucking great already. I can't wait. The He-Man movie where he's a dull office worker. The Grand Tales of He-Man and his battle against Skeletor. In this version, they're just childhood stories Adam grew up hearing. The idea of He-Man being a fantasy in Adam's mind is already stirring up debate. You could say that. Could this creative twist breathe new life into the franchise? No. First of all, it doesn't need new life. Kevin Smith already breathed new life in it with the Netflix animated movie. He-Man has already got a resurgence. Like, that's why they're making this movie. You think they're making this movie to breathe new life into a franchise? No, they're making the movie because the franchise has some new life. And they're like, oh, how can we make some money? These buzzwords, man, people buy into this shit and then they think, oh, it's a creative new twist. No. Or will it align with longtime fans? It's a risky move, but it could also set this movie apart from countless other reboots. I don't see how. That's not setting it apart. You know what would set it apart from other reboots? Is if you actually adapted the fucking the original content. Like, that would set it apart. Then I'd be like, whoa, that's impressive. They have some balls. That's a risky move. A risky move would be this movie taking place in Eternia, He-Man as fucking He-Man that we fucking, and he looks huge. Like, that would be a risky move because that would be actually adapting the content, which is something reboots just seem to not understand that that's what they're supposed to be doing. The source of this intriguing information shared the details on Patreon, hinting that this reinterpretation might focus more on Adam's journey of self-discovery rather than just another spectacle of battles and magic. Because we have so many of those, right? There's so many just spectacles of battles and magic. No, there honestly isn't. Like, they always try to modernize shit. But no, like, if you want to make a movie about a journey of self-discovery of a guy that's an office worker, then make a movie about a guy that's an office worker having a journey. Why are you also going to make him He-Man on the back end? Like, that to me is you're just using the IP of He-Man to sell a movie in a skin. It's what I thought Skeleton Crew was going to be. I thought, okay, they're just making like a Goonies, Stranger Things kids movie, and they're going to slap the Star Wars skin on it, which is kind of what it is. But it's actually really good, so I'm not going to fucking shit on it. But let's see. Amazon's Master of the Universe is bound to spark a conversation, and if this twist lands well, it could redefine what fans expect from He-Man's story. I doubt it. Heavily. Like, I heavily doubt that this new take is going to be what people are going to start wanting from now on. Like, you know what I always wanted? I always wanted He-Man to just be like this boring office worker in Chicago. Because, like, that would just be so cool and so much more interesting. That's what I want. That's what I expect. It blows my mind. Come on. Yeah, it just blows my mind. Oh, man. Oh, man. Well, yeah, guys, that's our show tonight, man. We had a good one. We'll see you guys Wednesday. Have a good weekend. Check out The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. Didn't do well in the box office, but if you like Lord of the Rings, if you like the old Hobbit cartoon from back in the day, like or anime, it looks really cool. It looks like that old type of animation. It's very like looks like pencil drawn. I mean, of course it's a computer, but it's really cool looking. I haven't finished it yet, but I started watching it last night. Looks pretty good so far. And real quick before we go, the guy that made the Nosferatu reboot that just came out that I haven't seen yet, but I hear really good things about, is talking about rebooting Labyrinth. Jim Henson movie, 1986, David Bowie, classic fantasy. Just like if you were a kid at that time and you saw Labyrinth, like that shit was dope. So really cool. They're talking about, and they did actually attempt to make sequels to Labyrinth and shit in the past, but yeah, that's happening. So be on the lookout for that. We will be updating and talking about the Labyrinth reboot coming up. But yeah, man, have a good weekend, guys. Have a safe weekend. We'll see you guys next Wednesday, every Saturday, and every Wednesday at about 7 p.m. We get on here and we chop it up. So if you're new to the channel, guys, please subscribe, like that stuff, put a comment and all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Be safe. Peace.